Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this public meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Milford. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silent prayer and or reflection as we think of our men and women of the police across our nation who are constantly protecting us from all threats. Please salute the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please note the fire exits behind you that goes right to the parking lot. To my left, your right, into the main hallway, and behind council chambers, to my right, to my left, your right. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend any meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this act, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Milford have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall, and notices have been sent to the record in the Ridgewood News. The mission of this governing body is to provide essential services through the establishment and implementation of public policy that will safeguard the infrastructure, provide fair, honest, courteous, and professional services, establish a sense of trust and accomplishment between all residents, and through research and prudent planning, seek to minimize risk while improving our services. We are sensitive to the needs and satisfaction of our taxpayers, while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people within the revenue constraints imposed by state mandates, economic conditions, and prevailing attitudes about taxation. At this time, I would ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilwoman Samuelson. Here. Councilwoman Sarkey Hurley. Present. Council President Duffy. Here. Councilman Grotsky.
Here.
Councilman Seymour.
Here.
Councilwoman Grant. Here. Mayor Patrino.
Here. Okay. Obviously, we have a very special event tonight. 2 special events tonight. So this is one of our favorite things to do. So, Chief, you want to take it away and say a few words?
Sure. Thank you. Okay, so we're here tonight for 2 reasons. Good evening and welcome, first of all. We're swearing in our newest police officer, and we're also here to recognize some of our officers who did some excellent work, a little above and beyond the normal call of duty. So we're excited to swear in Officer Gary Lewis. Officer Lewis grew up in Nutley. He graduated from Nutley High School and then attended Montclair State University, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree. After college, he served in the United States Air Force and completed his basic training at Joint Base San Antonio and then Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. And then he was honorably discharged in 2018. In 2019, Officer Lewis was hired by the Newark Police Department, and after graduating the Essex Police Academy, he was assigned to patrol the 6th Precinct. His captain in the 6th Precinct recognized Officer Lewis's dedication and abilities. So then he was assigned to the Community Focus Unit, which concentrated on community policing in the Southern District of Newark. We're lucky to be gaining such an experienced police officer, and now I invite Officer Lewis and his family up to be sworn in to the New Milford Police Department. Come on up here. And do you want to bring some people over?
I state your name.
I, Gary Arthur Lewis,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the rules and regulations
and the rules and regulations
of the New Milford Police Department,
of the New Milford Police Department,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
And I do solemnly swear
And I do solemnly swear
I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of the duties
all the duties
of police officer
of police officer
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. So it's paperwork. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Since Officer Lewis is already a police officer in New Jersey, his training will be short, and he'll be on the road pretty quickly, and then up into helping us out. Congrats.
Thank you again.
Okay. Now we're going to recognize some officers from calls and events that took place in 2022. Captain Van Saders is going to help me out and read some of the descriptions. We're going to try and keep it very short, but this is some really important stuff and that deserves to be recognized. So, Kevin, you want to come on up? I'll give the awards out as he reads them. So I'll call you up after he's done reading.
Thank you, Chief. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to, first award to talk about is actually three separate life-saving incidents that occurred at the old Newbridge Road Bridge during the spring and summer of 2022. On April 27, 2022, at approximately 11:30 p.m., Officer Daniel O'Neill assisted River Edge Police with rescuing a suicidal party in the Hackensack River close to Old Newbridge Road. Officer O'Neill was in the Hackensack River helping remove the victim, and she was able to be transported to the hospital. On June 2nd, 2022, at 1 a.m., NMPD officers were dispatched to the bridge on Old Newbridge Road on a report of a suicidal female attempting to jump off. Officer Duran was the first officer on scene and immediately took control of the situation and established a verbal rapport with the troubled teen. After over 30 minutes of conversation with the victim, Officer Duran was able to make the victim comfortable enough for him to get close to her and initiated a fist bump. Officer Duran was able to pull the victim off the ledge of the bridge into safety, and the party was transported to the hospital for an evaluation. On July 16, 2022, at approximately 3 a.m., Lieutenant Scott Petrie located a missing suicidal female on the Old Newbridge Road Bridge. Officer Giulio Agnello arrived on scene shortly after, and both officers engaged the juvenile female for 2 hours, gaining her trust to get close enough to grab her as she attempted to jump from the bridge. Lieutenant Petrie held on to the victim's leg while she was dangling from the bridge, while P.O. Agnello and fire department personnel were able to get her to safety. The female was underwater at one point during the rescue, and if not for Lieutenant Petrie and P.O. Agnello, she would have been fully submerged into the Hackensack River. The victim was taken into safety and transported to the hospital for evaluation. The New Milford Police Department would like to award Lieutenant Scott Petrie, Officer Sam Duran, Officer Julian Agnello, and Officer O'Neill with the Meritorious Service Award for their actions.
Good picture? Yeah. Thumbs up. Congrats, guys. That was really good.
On April 25th, 2022, during the overnight hours, Officer Daniel O'Neill was dispatched to Grieve Drive on a report of a suspicious party, possibly attempting to open vehicle doors. A witness provided a description of the suspect vehicle. A short time later, Officer O'Neill located a vehicle matching that description traveling on Boulevard. A motor vehicle stop was initiated, and a subsequent investigation by P.O. O'Neill led to the discovery of multiple stolen items from the vehicle. Those stolen items were linked to vehicle burglaries in New Milford, Saddlebrook, Elmwood Park, Fair Lawn, and Wallington. All stolen items were able to be returned to the victims. 2 parties were arrested and charged with vehicle burglary and possession of stolen property in multiple jurisdictions. The New Milford Police Department would like to award Officer Daniel O'Neill with the Meritorious Service Award for this burglary arrest. On September 19, 2022, at approximately 7 p.m., NMPD officers were dispatched to Knights Field on a report of an unresponsive party with CPR in progress. Officer Kyle Hill and Officer Dennis Calcione were the first to arrive on scene and took over CPR on the patient. Lieutenant George Herrero, Sergeant Michael Lafrano, Detective Przemysław Boinski, and Detective Samuel Gerace arrived shortly after and provided assistance and scene security. While performing CPR, 2 shocks were administered by the defibrillator, and the party started to breathe on his own. Officers continued to treat the patient while awaiting medical personnel and assisted with transporting him into the ambulance. The New Milford Police Department would like to award Lieutenant George Herrero, Sergeant Michael Lafrano, Sergeant Przemysław Boinski, Detective Samuel Gerace, P.O. Kyle Hill, P.O. Dennis Calcione, with Department CPR SAVE citations for life-saving actions.
Congrats, guys. Great job. Congrats, good job. Anyone take a picture? Wait. The whole team is going. Actually, in that case, CPR was done so well by you guys that some other people want to use it for training. The training video was done so well. And that person is still alive today. We did not get a chance to contact them, but they're doing well. But
On September 14, 2022, a 72-year-old New Milford resident reported that he and his wife were a victim of a grandparent scam. They gave an unknown male party $9,000 for bail money that they believed was for their grandson. The unknown suspect arrived at the victim's residence and collected the money. While the suspect was leaving, one of the victims, believing he was scammed, attempted to confront the accused and photograph him with his phone. During the interaction, the accused assaulted the victim and stole his phone. Lieutenant Perez handled the investigation and was able to identify the suspect, who was a 21-year-old male from Paterson, New Jersey. The suspect was arrested at his residence on September 22, 2022, and was charged with second-degree robbery, theft by deception, receiving stolen property, and simple assault. Lieutenant Perez shared this arrest information with agencies throughout the state and is currently working with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Department of Homeland Security, New Jersey Attorney General's Office, and the Tinton Falls Police to link the suspect to other similar crimes throughout the state, including other scams, robberies, and firearm possession. The New Milford Police Department would like to award Lieutenant Nelson Perez with the Meritorious Service Award for his robbery, arrest, and investigation.
thank you.
On November 26, 2022, at around 7 p.m., NMPD officers were dispatched to the parking lot of 900 Boulevard on a report of a male party with trauma and bleeding. Officer Sam Duran arrived on scene first and immediately began providing aid to the victim. Sergeant Brian Moen, Officer Brian Chevalier, and Officer Tyler Ioja arrived on scene shortly after. While treating the victim, it was determined that he had a gunshot wound to the head. The victim was transported to Hackensack University Medical Center, where he was pronounced deceased. The crime scene was established by officers on scene, and Lieutenant Perez, Sergeant Matisich, Detective Gerace, and Detective Campisi began the criminal investigation with the assistance of the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office. A lengthy initial canvass and search was conducted that evening. In the following weeks, NMPD detectives, working vigorously with the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, and suspects were established, as well as a timeline of the shooting. As a direct result of their efforts, on January 5th, 2023, multiple search warrants were simultaneously executed by Lieutenant Perez, Sergeant Matisich, Detective Gerace, Detective Campisi, Detective Chevalier, and P.O. O'Neill at locations in New Milford, Teaneck, Englewood, Hackensack, and Middle Ferry with the assistance of those local police departments. The investigation, surveillance, and search warrants led to the arrest of the shooter and several of his known associates that are actively participating in criminal activity throughout Bergen County. The investigation is still ongoing, and future charges are pending against the defendants. The New Milford Police Department would like to award Lieutenant Nelson Perez, Sergeant Brian Moan, Sergeant Derek Matisich, Detective Samuel Gerace, Detective Jeffrey Campisi, Detective Brian Chevalier, P.O. Sam Duran, P.O. Daniel O'Neill, and P.O. Tyler Ioja for their efforts in this homicide investigation.
Great job. Congrats. 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 Wide angle. Turn around. There you go. Okay. Nice job, guys. It's actually been kind of quiet, that whole case. We got permission from the prosecutor's office to talk about it, kind of because it's leading to other things. So it's still in the works, but these guys did a great job. The last award we wanted to do was a unit citation to the Traffic Safety Division. In 2020, we formed the Traffic Safety Division to concentrate on the many local traffic problems, complaints, and for all traffic issues that arise. It focuses on traffic safety through traffic enforcement, school traffic initiatives, and applying for grants to take part in statewide traffic enforcement campaigns such as Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over, Distracted Driver, Click It or Ticket, and pedestrian street crossing initiatives. Since its creation, the Traffic Safety Unit has been extremely successful in keeping New Milford safe for pedestrians and drivers. In 2020 and 21, NMPD was given the Silver Traffic Safety Award from AAA. In 2021, NMPD was awarded the Safe Routes to School First Step Award. And in 2022, the Safe Routes to School Silver Award. Lastly, I was notified a few weeks ago that NMPD will be awarded a Gold Traffic Safety Award from AAA, which is actually pretty hard to attain, and we've never gotten anything like that before. I'd like to congratulate all of our Traffic Safety Division officers on their unit citation for their hard work and dedication to safety in New Milford. So I'd like to call up Captain DeGenio, who started the Traffic Safety Division in 2020, Lieutenant Paisano, who I don't think is here, Officer Sokol, and Officer O'Neill for a unit citation. And Kevin, can you give those out, please? I'm sorry. Hold on, let's put the gold award in there too. Sometimes I kind of hesitate to do this stuff, but these events were really, worth mentioning. But also worth mentioning is every officer does a great job every night they go out to work. So I think that should be noted too. So, thank you, and we're all set.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, NMPD, for all that you do for our community. You know, people tell me all the time what a great place New Milford is. This is one of the main reasons right there against that wall. So thank you very much. At this time, we're going to take a 5-minute recess, so anyone who does not want to be here can move on.